pediatric resident. This weekend I'm going to show you what it's like being on call as a peds resident. I've seen a lot of these videos on YouTube, but mostly it's people showing what life is like as a surgery resident or an internal medicine resident, but there's not many people giving a perspective into a pediatric resident on call. And this could be interesting for people who are considering a career in medicine, or if you're thinking about going into pediatrics. I hope that you'll find this interesting and hopefully you will learn something from this video. I generally get to work around 7:45 to 8 a.m. I typically try and use this time right before handover starts at 8:30 to print our patient lists. And then I'll start looking up all of the patients. I try and read about what the patients are admitted for. If they've had any pertinent investigations, I like to look at those reports. I also look up their blood work results, and I also look at their vitals from overnight because that's very helpful to know before the day gets started. After that time, I head over to handover, which is from 8:30 to generally around 9:30. And this is where the night team who admitted new patients to the hospital, as well as looked after all of the patients who are admitted in the hospital, will give us any updates about what happened overnight. From 9:30 until about 10:30, this is when the teams will split up all of the patients, and if I need to look any other further details up that I didn't have time to do before handover, I will do that at that point. After I've looked up all of my patients, I will make my way to actually start assessing the patient. So this is when I'm, clarifying details in the history about why the patient has come into the hospital, and this is where I form my assessment of what I think is going on and try and rule out other things. This is also a time when I will update the families based on any new investigations that have come about overnight or since they were first admitted. Around noon, sometimes 1 p.m., sometimes later, you sit down with your staff physician, and this is when you start reviewing all of your patients. So as a resident trainee, I'm always supervised by my staff, and you have to review everything that you do with your patients at that time. On weekends, again, there's only one staff physician for all of the teams, so you do it as a sit-down round. So I discuss, my assessment of all of the patients, I review all the investigations with my staff, and then I propose a management plan, and then they'll give me feedback based on whether they agree or if they'd like to do something a bit different. And then after you finish that, you try and sneak in time to have lunch. 2 o'clock now, and I'm just having a moment to have my lunch finally. It was quite a busy morning because we had a very unwell patient that we had to assess quite frequently. The afternoon is when you will be acting on some of the management plans that you decide on with your staff. This is also the time when you start finally documenting all of your notes for all of the patients. So every patient you see, you have to write a note on. Set your notes, then you go to handover again at 4:30 p.m., which lasts from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. And this is again where the day team, which is including myself as well as a bunch of other residents and learners, we will hand over to the night team in a systematic method about all of the patients that are admitted, because they are the ones who are going to be responding if anything happens overnight. So they need to know, is this a sick patient or is this a stable patient? And this is where, we tell them if there's any investigations that need to be followed up on overnight. If there are sick patients, then we'll let them know how frequently we would recommend assessing them or what types of investigations need to be followed up on as well. And then the night team will, of course, ask us questions if they need any clarification. And generally that is kind of the structure of my day on weekends. It's 5:30 now and I'm actually just heading home. It was quite the busy day, but I had a lot of interesting cases and I learned so much today. Generally when I'm doing these weekend calls, I am what is considered a fly-in or a substitute resident, so I'm just helping to cover for the weekends. I don't actually know these patients from the week time. Okay, so Saturdays are usually a bit more difficult as you have to spend a bit more time getting to know your patients and be a bit more thorough. And that's pretty much my day one of weekend call. So I will show you guys tomorrow what happens on the Sunday. Okay, so today I'm getting in a bit later. It's around 8:10. Since I know my patients from yesterday already, I don't have as many things to look up before handover starts. Hi guys, it's about 9 o'clock now and I've just finished getting handover from the night team. I've gotten all my patient assignments for today as well, so now I'm just gonna go make my rounds and start assessing the patients. So today has been much more relaxed. It's about 1 p.m. and I'm about to grab my lunch. I had a very interesting morning with some very interesting learning cases, so that's been great. Sometimes weekends feel like you're just doing a lot of scut work and just trying to survive, but sometimes you'll also get some very interesting cases that you can learn a lot from. All right guys, it's about 5 p.m. and I just finished with handover, so I'm heading home. This afternoon, I also did a consult for a new patient that was being admitted to general pediatrics. So along with seeing patients that are already admitted, you may also be asked to, help out with new consults and new admissions. So overall, it was a great weekend. We had an awesome team and we worked really hard, but we worked well together, so that was great. And tomorrow I will be back to work again. So the hard part of, doing weekend call like this is that you end up working 12 days in a row, so that can feel like a bit tough at times, but I'd take this over 24-hour call.